Hello, and welcome to What in the Mystical Hell podcast. I'm your host, Nikki. So, we've been talking about the pagan Wheel of the Year. If you've never heard of the Wheel of the Year, there are 8 major holidays or sabbats celebrated by many pagans and witches. These include 4 quarter days and 4 cross-quarter days that mark solstices, equinoxes, and the changing seasons. In our Wheel of the Year, we start with Yule, which runs anywhere between December 20th through the 23rd, also called the winter solstice. Imbolg, February 1st or 2nd, is also called Candlemas or Bridget's Day, and it is the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. Ostara lands between March 20th through the 23rd and is known as the spring equinox. Next we have Beltane on May 1st. That is the May Day festival, and it is the halfway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. Letha lands anywhere from June 20th through the 23rd, and that is our summer solstice. Then we have Lunasa or Lammas, which lands on August 1st. That is the first harvest festival, and it lands halfway between summer solstice and the autumn equinox. Mabon, which we are currently celebrating, is September 20th through the 23rd, also known as our autumn equinox. And we round out the year with Samhain, October 31st, which is All Hallows Eve. If you listened to my last Sabbat episode, I talked about Lunasa. Today's episode is all about Mabon, the autumnal equinox. Autumn is my favorite season of the year. Sweater weather, falling leaves, apple picking, I love it all. And yes, pumpkin spice is in there too. Even I can be a basic witch sometimes. It's also the time of year for my favorite Sabbats, especially Mabon. This harvest ritual speaks to the very foundation of my soul. For me, it's a time for family and friends, for our community to come together, and a time to share laughter and love. It's also when we see the results of hard work. Whether it be planting season, community building, or personal growth, autumn is a time to celebrate our achievements. Now, when I think about the fall season, the first thing I think of is food. But there are so many correspondences for Mabon that transcend just the food. This second harvest festival is where we reap the rewards of our toil while celebrating all the abundance that is still around us. Mabon is also about balance, as the equinox is a time of equal day and night. We are encouraged to find the harmony within ourselves. This is a time for self-reflection and introspection. What have we accomplished during the past year? What areas of opportunity do we have? How have we grown? Celebrate your growth while still acknowledging where you have opportunities. Here are some of the correspondences that may help you or inspire you for your Mabon festivities. Activities. Mabon activities can be done either solo or with a group and can be as simple or elaborate as you like. Some activities include setting up your Mabon altar, preparing a harvest feast, taking a walk and reconnecting with nature, performing a Mabon ritual, doing some crafts, divination work, bonfires, which I love, creating a gratitude altar or starting a gratitude journal, perform acts of charity. You can donate to a food bank or volunteer your time, and apple picking, which is one of my favorite activities. Now let's break down these activities just a bit. Setting up your Mabon altar. If you're newer to the path, you may feel unsure of the proper way to set up an altar. The good news is there's no set way. You get to choose whatever feels right for you and your practice. Here are a few ideas of some things that you can use. Symbols. Some symbols can include the cornucopia, which is a symbol of abundance. Grains. Using grains symbolizes the fruits of our labor and sustenance. Sickles or scythes represent our hard work and reaping what we sow. Autumn leaves represent the season as its beauty transforms. Apples are seen quite frequently as a symbol of Mabon and represent the orchard and the harvest. Pomegranates represent abundance, fertility, and the cycle of life. They are also a symbol of Persephone, who is considered a Mabon goddess. Grapes and wine are symbolic of abundance, the harvest, revelry, and gratitude. Gourds and root vegetables represent the earth and bring grounding energy to your space. Feathers represent the element of air and the energy of nature. And any kind of balancing symbol, you can use those to represent the balance between light and dark. So for example, scales or the sun and moon. Choose what feels right for you, what resonates to you. Use those in your altar. Color correspondences. Orange represents autumn and the abundance of the harvest season. It signifies enthusiasm, creativity, and the changing colors of the falling leaves. Red signifies, again, the changing leaves and the fiery energy of autumn. It symbolizes passion, courage, and the vibrant life force within nature. Yellow represents the golden hues of autumn, reflecting the sunlight that dances through the falling leaves. It symbolizes joy, optimism, and abundant harvest. And we're still getting some of that sun energy from summer here. And for that first part of the day before we balance into night. Brown represents the earth and the grounding energy of Mabon. It signifies stability, security, and the fertile soil that nurtures our harvest. Lastly, deep purple represents the mystery and magic of the season. It symbolizes transformation, spirituality, and the introspective nature of autumn. Altar cloths, ribbons, and candles in these colors can create the right ambiance. All right, now we have crystals. Crystals can enhance the energy of your harvest celebrations, so choose the ones that resonate with you. Citrine carries the energies of abundance, prosperity, and manifestation. Use it to amplify positive energies and attract abundance into your life. Carnelian carries the energies of vitality, creativity, and motivation. Use carnelian to invoke the power of fire and ignite your passion and enthusiasm. Amber carries the energy of warmth and protection. Associated with sun and fire, it's used to bring joy, balance, and clarity, and can help connect with ancestral practices and strengthen spiritual practices. Smoky quartz is a protective and grounding crystal that can help release negative energies and promote a sense of stability and balance. Used during Mabon to facilitate grounding, introspection, and the release of anything no longer serving you. Moss agate is associated with abundance, growth, and fertility, and connect you to the earth's energy and also bring a sense of stability and balance. Use it to deepen your connection to the season. Yellow jasper is a stone of strength, positivity, and confidence. Yellow jasper can promote optimism, joy, and boost your self-esteem. Use it to boost the energy of your Mabon celebrations. Lapis lazuli is a crystal of wisdom, truth, and spiritual growth. It can be used to enhance intuition, expand consciousness, and can connect you with realms of higher knowledge. Use it to support deep reflection and introspection during Mabon rituals. Finding the right combination of crystals will definitely enhance your Mabon workings. Different herbs can be used to enhance the energy of your space and your Sabbat preparations, whether it be for celebration offerings, food, or even incense. Again, choose herbs that resonate with you for the best possible results. All right, let's start out with sage. I've shared my feelings many times about sage in these podcasts. I'm not going to deny it. It's a fantastic herb. It's just not one that I choose. You can check back to the Lunasa episode for my reasons. But sage is very well known for its cleansing and purification properties. If you choose to use sage, just do your research and choose your practice with it and the variety that you use wisely. For decoration and food preparation, though, I find sage quite lovely. Rosemary. This is actually one of my favorite protective herbs and is a great choice to cleanse and purify your spaces, both before and after ritual. Associated with remembrance, clarity, and protection, it can be used to honor your ancestors and connect to their wisdom. Rosemary is a great choice to enhance mental clarity and focus during Mabon rituals and meditations, and it makes a great addition to your holiday meals. Calendula, also known as marigolds. It's associated with abundance, gratitude, and harvest. Using rituals to honor the bountiful harvest and to attract prosperity and good fortune. Chamomile adds the energies of peace and tranquility to your workings, and it can be used to promote relaxation, balance, and harmony. You can use it in teas or herbal baths to enhance a sense of well-being during the autumn season. Lavender is also well known for its calming and healing properties. It can be used to promote relaxation, balance emotions, and invite peaceful energies. It can also be used to enhance spiritual connection. Lavender can be used in sachets, oils, or herb baths to enhance Mabon rituals and practices. Cinnamon. This is associated with abundance, passion, and prosperity. You can use it in cooking, as a tea ingredient, or in potpourri to invoke the cozy and welcoming atmosphere of Mabon. Frankincense is what I use the most when it comes to cleansing, purifying, and protecting my personal space. It's also great for meditation and ancestor work. Burn as an incense or use the oils. As with the previous categories, use your best judgment and choose what resonates with you. Even for community gatherings, these rituals are very personal, and your altar is very personal. So choose herbs that are going to enhance your experience and your energy in your space. Not every herb is going to fit your need, and that's totally okay. Do what feels right for you and have fun. Now, the last altar thing I'm going to talk about is flowers. You can add different flowers to your Mabon altar based on their associations and your personal preference. All right, first thing I have on my altar is sunflowers. Sunflowers represent the sun, vitality, strength, and bounty. We have marigolds, which are also known as calendula. As stated a little bit earlier, marigolds are associated with the bounty and abundance of the harvest. They're also associated with protection, particularly metaphysical protection. For Mabon, we use them to honor the harvest and invite positive energy. And then as we move later in the wheel, we're going to use them to honor our ancestors at Samhain. Chrysanthemums. These symbolize joy, longevity, and balance. Longevity and balance. In many cultures, they're associated with autumn festivals and are used as offerings for the ancestors. We'll be seeing those at Samhain as well. The next flower, the dahlia, is one of my favorites. Dahlias represent inner strength, creativity, and elegance, and are often used in Mabon floral arrangements to bring beauty and energy to the celebrations. And goldenrod. Goldenrod is associated with abundance, wealth, and good fortune. It's often used in Mabon rituals and decorations to attract prosperity and amplify positive energies. These are just a few of many, many flowers that you can use. Explore other autumn blooms and find ones that also resonate with you. You can use them in floral arrangements, altar decorations, or as offerings for your Mabon celebrations. Remember, setting up your altar is completely personal and does not have to meet anyone's expectations but your own. Now, you may have a deity or two that has preferences, and that definitely needs to be taken into account, especially if you're honoring them. But don't let yourself fall into the trap of thinking that you cannot have a simple altar if that's what you choose. If you put thought, energy, and intention into it, it will be beautiful. Okay, ritual talk. I've said it before, and I will say it again. A ritual doesn't have to be elaborate. For some of us, though, the details are what help us get into the mindset of the ritual. If you're that person and you're not really sure where to begin, let me recommend Llewellyn's Sabbat Essential Series number 5, Mabon, Rituals, Recipes, and Lore for the Autumn Equinox. Now, this book contains a lot of information, including how to perform rituals. I'm going to have a link for it in the episode notes. But if you have a recommendation for another book, please shoot me an email. I love recommendations. Rituals can be as elaborate or as simple as you choose. I'm not going to go into how to do a ritual. You can definitely find that in the book I've mentioned, and I'm sure there are plenty of resources online. I'm going to give a few tips, though. So these are some tips that I found come in handy. Grounds and cleanse yourself. right? Making sure that you're cleansed and grounded is important for the simple reason that you don't want the frustrations and little bits of crazy from your day affecting your ritual, right? Take the time to ground yourself, whether you take, a ritual bath, or you take a cleansing shower. Maybe you go over yourself with a salt scrub and get rid of all those energies. Then you can go into your ritual being completely focused and ready to go. Cleanse your space. Doing a ritual in an energetically and physically clean space can help you keep your focus. It helps keep the crazy, not only from your day, but from your space, from creeping in on your rituals. It clears that out so that you can really focus on your intention. And having a physically clean space means you're not tripping over things when you're doing a ritual. I mentioned in my last episode, I don't know if you've ever tried to do a ritual in a room with Legos, but if you step on it, you're gonna lose a little focus in the ritual, I promise. And you will step on it right when you least expect it. Clean your body, clean your space. Have a copy of your ritual written out in case you blank on the next part. We all do it. I do it all the time. If I didn't have notes for this episode, I would blank too. Keep yourself some notes. It'll help keep you on track. And your deities aren't going to judge you. Who's going to judge you for that, right? Nobody died because we had some notes. It'll be okay. This next tip might just be from my personal experience. I don't know if this is anyone else's experience, but keep a fire extinguisher handy, just in case. I've definitely found it to be helpful. If you set the tablecloth on fire, a broom, garage insulation, those things are flammable, and if you're not paying attention, whoosh. So keep the fire extinguisher around, within close reach. At some point, you'll need it. It's okay to laugh. We all make mistakes, and it's funny. If everything needed to be serious, I don't think I would make it as a witch. Work with what you have handy. Almost everything has a substitute, and more than likely, it's sitting in your spice cabinet. Any doors that you open, make sure that you close them. I find this particularly important in the harvest rituals because a lot of times you're doing divination work. When we're working with the ancestors, or we're trying to figure out our future, and this is the time of year when the veil is thinner. Make sure that you're closing those doors. Any doors that you open, make sure that you close them. So if you call the quarters or invoke a spirit, make sure to offer gratitude and then let it depart. If you are using a spirit board, make sure to close that door. I will also say in here, if you are using a spirit board, I don't always use a sacred circle, but if you are going to use a sacred circle, if you are going to use a spirit board, my recommendation is to put it in a sacred protected circle. Something that's energetically locked around you and keeps whatever you might unleash in. And then make sure to close that door before you open up your circle, right? Thank whoever you're speaking to. Encourage them to go along their way. And once they have left, close that door. Close that door and lock it. If you are in your home, make sure that you invoke the laws of hospitality. If anything goes awry, like this is your house, this is your space, like you have a quick solution to get them out. Because you have invited them in, you have given them offerings, and now you're telling them don't be a bad guest. Like it's time to go. If you cannot be a good guest in my home, it is time to leave. Sometimes the best rituals are simple ones that come from the heart. Don't feel like you have to make something so elaborate and so complicated that it loses its meaning to you. When you create your own rituals, they should be personal and meaningful. And know that even if you're using a ritual that you found in a book, you can find a way to make it personal and meaningful for you. And know that quick and simple rituals, they can be meaningful too. It's all about your intention. I'm still working on that future episode about rituals and casting, but it's coming. All right. Now that I've gotten some of the bigger activities out of the way, let's talk crafting. Let's talk fun stuff. Crafting for your Sabbat festivities are wonderful because they really do help you get in that mindset. Here are some great crafts that I got from Autumn Zenith of the Witchcrafted Life website. This article is a great read too. So I'm going to post the link to the website and the article in the episode notes. And these crafts, they range from really simple to more challenging, but they're totally cute. Here are a couple of my favorites. Fall bucket list. All you need is a bucket, popsicle sticks, a little paint, and a Sharpie. Rustic fall cinnamon broom wreath. So you get a cinnamon broom, a little yarn or twine, some fall floral picks, some wired ribbon. Throw them together for a lovely fall wreath. They don't have to be super expensive. You can go to the dollar store or you can go to Michael's. You have your choice. Or you can use things that you find out in nature. You can throw those together for a lovely fall wreath. Corn husk dolls. Who has not made corn husk doll? Well, a lot of people, I'm sure. But it is a time-honored tradition. Corn husk dolls can be used as a decoration or for your Mabon working. You make that little doll and it's a cute decoration. And then maybe later we use it as a puppet. Who knows? Mabon dried apple garland. Step-by-step instructions for making a beautiful Mabon decoration. Whatever crafts you choose, take your time and enjoy the moment. Because that's what the fall season is all about. Being in the moment. Being mindful. It is, it's important to slow down sometimes and just enjoy being in the moment. So some thoughts about other Mabon activities before I move on to my favorite category, which is, of course, the food. Divination work. All right, I said this in the last portion. Before you open a door, make sure that you know how to close it. This is especially important for spirit boards. If you're newer to the craft and absolutely must play, if you're newer to the craft, let me just say, don't. Get some miles under your belt before you play around with that spirit board. But if you absolutely must, do your research and conduct your divination work in a protected space. Gratitude altars. If you're on social media, I made a Mabon gratitude altar video. You can check out the episode. I talk about what I use, why I use the things that I use. I show you what it looks like. You can check out the episode notes, and I will link to the TikTok for some hopefully helpful tips. I will also link to my Instagram because I have the reels on there as well. Apple picking. If you like to go apple picking and you live in Northern California or the Bay Area, check out the episode notes. I'm going to have links for places where you can go apple picking. It's a super fun activity, especially if you have kids. I've done it for years with my kids, and though, I'm sure they roll their eyes at me in the moment. When they get older and I'm gone, they're going to miss those days. And they'll have some wonderful pictures to look back on and some great memories to share. Charity and volunteer work. I advocate this activity year-round. It's community building. It's a beautiful thing to do for other people. And it's so good for your soul. The way that you feel after you know that you have done something to help others is incredible. So check the episode notes for places to volunteer and a list of needed and helpful year-round items for food bank donations. There are so many fun activities for Mabon in the fall season. Whichever activity you choose, be mindful and keep the spirit of Mabon in the harvest. All right, now we're in my favorite part, Mabon foods. Don't be afraid to think outside your box for foods, whether it be ritual foods or community sharing. I'm going to list some traditional food items and then share some recipes. Most of the recipes that I've made are tried and true, and they are kid tested, and I do have substitutions that I make for dietary needs in my family. But I have a recipe included because I'd like to try it in the future as well. So when thinking about the Mabon foods, think about celebrating the harvest and the abundance of the season. Almost anything that'll be in season this time of year is going to be great for your sabbat feast. All right, first the food items. Apples. Apples have many magical associations. Love, prosperity, protection, healing. In regards to Mabon, they're symbolic of the harvest and connection to the orchard. Use apples in your recipes to restore the balance in your life and to manifest great things. Pumpkins are symbolic of abundance and a bountiful harvest, but they also have healing and protective energies. Use pumpkin in your recipes to heal and protect you and your loved ones. Squash gourds. Squash is associated with fertility and abundance, and gourds are just generally symbolic of magic, but use these in recipes to increase your connection to the earth. So they can be grounding, they can be protective, give you a little bit of balance. Because that's what the earth does. It gives us that strong foundation so that we can be balanced. Corn. Corn's a symbol of the harvest and the earth mother. It's known to carry the energies of abundance, luck, prosperity, and fertility. You can use the kernels in spell bags and charms, or charm bags for abundance. The corn silk can be used for tea or tinctures, and the husks, we talked about the corn husk dolls, those can be used to make puppets. Nuts. We're all a little nuts here. It's okay. Nuts are symbolic of abundance, prosperity, and riches. Also fertility and good luck. You can use in recipes to add good luck and prosperity in your life. Just make sure if you are sharing with the community or if you have guests over, make sure that we're checking for nut allergies. Or if we're sharing with the community, just make sure that we're labeling items that they do have nuts so that we don't accidentally cause some distress for people. Root vegetables represent a connection to the earth. Their energies promote grounding and balance. So any root vegetables that you have in your recipes, like carrots, potatoes, onions, they're going to just give those grounding and balancing energies. Berries, symbols of abundance and prosperity. On Mabon morning, why don't you make your breakfast intentional? As you do your toast, spread that jam and put a little bit of manifestation energy in there. Grapes. Grapes symbolize abundance, fertility, life, and rebirth. Use in spells for transformation after a period of rest. And if you like wine is technically a transformed grape. You can use that as an offering. Cranberries represent fertility, abundance, energy, and protection. So you can put those in your recipes for any of those intentions. Breads and grains, they're good for offering and grounding. Bread is great for ritual use as an offering and to ground after ritual. Breaking bread, that's a symbol of peace and prosperity all around the world. Sharing offerings of bread can establish laws of hospitality in your home. So as your host, I am sharing my abundance with you. I am sharing my good fortune with you. Please be a good guest. Now you can use different herbs in your bread so that your bread can have different intentions. Then the act of eating the bread can manifest those results. My favorite thing that I'm eating right now is a rosemary Parmesan bread. And the rosemary has really protective energies, but I definitely feel more grounded and a little safer when I eat it. It's kind of like my comfort zone right now. Plus, it is delicious. Check your local Costco because that's where I found mine. Meats. All right. Different meats symbolize different things. In general, meat is a symbol of affluence, strength, and virility. Infuse meats with your desired intention during the prepping process, and then you can use the energy of transformation, i.e. cooking, to manifest your desires. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into meats in my episode notes because it's a little harder to find some information on meats if you're a meat eater, about what different meats represent. But I will definitely dig deeper there. Lastly, I want to talk about honey. Honey. It symbolizes fertility, community, prosperity, diligence, and work ethic. You can use honey in recipes to add sweetness and good luck to your energies. Okay, let's look at some recipes here. Food and food traditions are a big part of our celebrations. Concentrate on your intentions as you're making these. So all the recipes will have a link in the episode notes. It'll shoot you right over to our Patreon where I have them available to the public. So you do not have to be a patron of the shop to see these recipes. But hopefully while you're there, you'll take a little bit of a look at what we have to offer. The Mabon feasts at my house are essentially witches' Thanksgiving, because I like to have Thanksgiving twice a year. Though this year I am kind of having an abbreviated version. Here are my favorite picks for Mabon celebrations. Any kind of game, fowl, or meat. Fall is traditionally a time for hunting and gathering, so quote-unquote wild meat is what's on the menu. Now, I personally am not a hunter because I will not kill animals for sport. Luckily, my local butcher usually has what I'm looking for. Turkey. Turkey is considered game fowl. Venison, quail, pheasant, wild duck. For turkeys in particular, they represent a connection to the earth and honoring nature. They teach us to be grateful for the things that come our way and grateful for the things that nourish us. They also remind us to appreciate what we have instead of always asking for and seeking new things. But let's say you're not into the more gamier meats. You can also cook with things that you find in your local grocery store. I'm going to elaborate again on this a little bit more when you go to our links. Beef, cow, has been a sacred animal for multiple cultures for only about a millennia. Its mystical properties include nourishment, abundance, peace, prosperity, and the divine feminine. When you cook that meat, you will also be adding the power of transformation. So I'm going to include an easy roast beef recipe. Harvest vegetable pasta. I got this recipe from the Rachel Ray Show of all places. I made some slight changes, but it's a fantastic recipe. The original recipe calls for whole wheat pasta, but I switched to gluten-free to meet dietary needs in my household. If you are using the original recipe, the grains in the pasta are symbolic of the harvest and bounty from our dedication and toil. It has red peppers, onions, squash, and zucchini. These strengthen our connection to the earth and offer stability and vitality. In the pesto sauce, because it has pesto sauce, we have basil, garlic, and mint. All of these things have protective qualities. I like this recipe because for the pesto because it uses almonds instead of pine nuts. My daughter's allergic to pine nuts, so it works better for us. If you have any kind of nut allergies, simply omit the nuts completely. It'll still come out great. Overall, my intention with this dish is to help my family ground and find balance as we recharge ourselves. But we're also still being protected. Right? There's the basil, the garlic, and mint in the pesto is providing that protective energy. Okay, apple pie. Apple pie does not last long in my house. Neither do apple tarts, apple fritters, apple danishes. You get what I'm saying. But if you can manage to find them before my husband does, eat what you can while you can. You can use almost any recipe for apple pie. Make the act of putting apples into the pie intentional to increase your health and healing through transference magic. So when you're putting that pie filling in, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I don't make the crust, right? Let's be honest. I bake a lot, don't do crust, not in my wheelhouse. So I use a store-bought crust. But as I'm mixing the filling, so, you cook the apples a little bit before you put them in. And I'm putting my intention into them, with the different things that I'm mixing in. And then while the pie is baking, that transformation magic will manifest my desire. Ooh, some pumpkin bread. This might be my favorite part of the entire season. Yes, my guilty pleasure might be a little bit of pumpkin spice, but there are few things that will send my senses into a tizzy more than the smell of fresh baked pumpkin bread. Pumpkins are a symbol of the season and are a symbol of abundance, stability, and security. They are also linked to the moon and water and have protective energies. The ingredients that go into the bread also add those energies. The cinnamon offers abundance and success, also protection. The nutmeg helps us overcome obstacles and embrace positive change. Clove helps us release pain and be open to positive energies. And the vanilla, it gives some calming and soothing energies along with personal empowerment. Plus, it's delicious. I don't care who you are, even if you don't like pumpkin. It's delicious. And if you don't like pumpkin, more for me. And I'm okay with that. Have a slice with your morning coffee. This infuses your intentions with stamina, right? And then start your morning with a little bit of magic. On my list of future things to make, I have a spinach lasagna that I'm looking to make. The spinach represents strength and manifesting your desires with action rather than just thought. That recipe will be included in the link as well, both with the original ingredients and any additions, substitutions that I might use. One of the things that I substitute for the lasagna pasta, I switch it to gluten-free. But if you are If you are like on keto or something like that, where you're just not doing carbs, you can use eggplant, you can use zucchini, you can just slice those very thin and use those as your lasagna layers. And then the magical correspondences from the items that you use will also be infused into your dish. All in all, our meals nourish us in more than just our bodies. So if you're taking the time to do the cooking, cook with intention and feed your soul. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode and have found at least some of the information useful. If you try any of the recipes, send me a picture. Let me know what you think, because I think my food's good, and people that have come to my house have said it's good, but I would love to know if you think it's good too. Or if you hate it, or if you made a change that made it better, share. And then if you have a recipe or a tradition that you'd like to share, send us an email or comment on our social media. Catch us for our next episode when Lauren will be back and we'll be sharing more stories as we discuss witchy shit. We always have stories, and sometimes we have opposing but interesting viewpoints. So come on back, take a listen. Thanks for joining me today. Again, I really hope you found this episode fun and informative, and I'd love to have your questions or comments. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram. If you'd like to support the podcast, we're attached to the Golden Apple Metaphysical Patreon. If I've not mentioned it in a few episodes, I am co-owner of Golden Apple Metaphysical. So you can sign up as a Patreon to access exclusive podcast content. And we have little goodies from Golden Apple as well. You can find us at www.patreon.com/Golden Apple Metaphysical. If you have any questions, comments, personal experiences, things you'd like us to talk about, email it to me. whatinthemysticalhell@gmail.com. I really had something else that I was going to say, and my brain did that thing that it does where it stopped. Oh, all of these links will also be in the episode notes, as well as links to our social media. This has been another episode of What in the Mystical Hell podcast, where we don't always cook, but when we do, we cook with intention. And when things go bump in the night, we know how to bump back. Take care.